Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. So again, welcome to our discussion of property, plant, and equipment. And for today, we are about to discuss depletion. Okay, so this is your instructor, Noel Bergonia. So just sit back, relax, okay, take down notes, and if you do have questions, please let me know on our chat box. Okay, so ayan po, let's start na po. No? So previously, we have discussed about the cost of property, plant, and equipment, the depreciation, the expenditures after initial recognition. Okay, so we will be talking about depletion for today, no? So technically, before we proceed to depletion proper, no, let's try to understand first, no, why do we have depletion? Okay, by discussing, of course, IFRS number 6, which is all about exploration, okay, and evaluation of mineral resources. Okay, so we start with understanding the mining life cycle. Okay, so as you can see here, no, we start the mining life cycle with prospecting. Okay, so when we talk about prospecting, it means that you are looking for areas as a site for mining activities. Okay, so you are looking for ano po yung nearest area o kaya naman yung fit na area, okay, for your activity. After you have identified the area, okay, wherein you're going to undergo the mining activities. Okay, the next would be exploration. So when we talk about exploration, you're looking for natural resources, okay, in that chosen site. Okay, so you're looking for, no, after you have prospected it, okay, meron ba tayo makukuha doon ng mga natural resources such as gas or even mga uh, silvers or golds or any other minerals, okay, or even ores. So after you have explored it, okay, and identified that there is a natural resource, then what you're going to do is to evaluate, no, that area. So in evaluating, you're trying to check, no, whether can you mine on that area, or even you're checking if there would be a technical feasibility and commercial viability of mining in that particular area. Okay, so afterwards, no, you will be developing the area. Okay, so na-evaluate mo na kasi, so pwede pa lang mag-mine, then you develop the area, no, you put, let's say for example, mga transportation equipment for the mine, di ba? And building tunnels, okay, and such. No? So you develop the area. So once that you have developed the area, then you are now ready to produce. No? So you are undergoing the production process already of extracting the products or the minerals, no, from that mining area. And then of course, after some period of time, no, that you have conducted production, of course, you need already to um, look for another. Kasi baka mamaya ubos na po yung mga mineral resources, okay, or natural resources in that area. Then you need to look for another place. Okay, so you will go to prospect again. But take note, guys, that you do not forget that the area on which you have already extracted the natural resources needs to be closed as well as restored. Okay, so kailangan natin i-restore kasi 'di ba? Somehow the um, government or even the Department of Natural Resources requires the mining industry, no, to restore the area so that it will not be dangerous, no, for those people near the area to go there, okay, in the future. Okay, so this is somehow the mining life cycle po. Okay, so later, no, we will try to use some of these words, no, and some of the phases here in the life cycle, no, for our discussion of the basic premises about depletion. Okay, so this particular discussion of depletable assets, okay, are under IFRS number 6. Okay, so IFRS number 6, which is all about the exploration for and evaluation of mineral resources. And we defined this particular exploration for and evaluation of mineral resources in IFRS number 6 as the search, no, for mineral resources, including yung mga minerals, no, oils, natural gases, and any other similar non-regenerative resources, okay, that we can found, of course, that cannot be produced, no, without mining or exploring, no. And take note that after the entity has obtained legal rights to explore in the specific area, as well as determination of technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting mineral resource. Okay, so that's the definition under IFRS number 6. So again, when we talk about legal rights, no, in exploring a specific area, of course, we need to acquire rights. Okay, on that land, of course, you will buy the land, or even you will acquire rights to explore that land. Okay, from the government. Okay, and then or any other agencies, and you will look, 'di ba sabi natin kanina, we have the evaluation, no, you will check if there would be technical feasibility or commercial viability in extracting that particular mineral resource on the chosen site. Okay, so that's again the definition of exploration for an evaluation of mineral resources. Now, when we explore and evaluate, of course, we have expenditures. Okay, so when we talk about exploration and evaluation expenditures, so these are expenditures that were incurred by the company, no, in connection with the exploration process and evaluation of the mineral resources. Take note, ha, before the technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting the mineral resources are demonstrable. Okay, so bakit po ba pag meron ng commercial viability and technical um, feasibility, no, so when we have already technical feasibility or commercial viability, it will not be part of the exploration and evaluation expenditures already, 'di ba? So kanina nandun tayo sa mining life cycle, 'di ba? So this process of checking the commercial viability and technical feasibility happens in the development phase. So after you have checked already, or sorry, evaluation stage pala. So in the evaluation, so after that, no, after you have developed, then you're now already in the production. So any expenditures now after the technical feasibility and commercial viability have been identified will now be capitalized, no, in the production process. Okay, sa production process na hindi na po siya sa exploration and evaluation. Okay, so take note as well that expenditures, no, that relates to the development of natural resources, so iba po ito dun sa development phase, kasi yung development phase kanina, that's a process of developing the area, 'di ba, so that we can proceed with the production process. So ito po, no, development of the mineral resource shall not be recognized as exploration and evaluation assets. So ito na po ay part ng production, no, yung pag-develop doon sa na mineral resources. So halimbawa, ang minimina mo ay silver, no? You're developing it to become a ring, or even to become a sellable product, no, kasi hindi naman siya ganoon talaga ka-sellable pag namina mo, 'di ba? So once you develop it, it's not part already of the exploration and evaluation natin. Okay? So, na-mention po dito in paragraph number 10, yung exploration and evaluation assets. Okay, which are actually referring doon din sa expenditures. So, ano ba tong exploration and evaluation asset na to? So, technically, these are the assets, okay, of the entity, okay, recognized in accordance with the entity's accounting policy. So, basically in IFRS number 6, if you're going to look into it, no, there would be a discussion as to how the company will treat it, no, of course in accordance pa rin with the standard, no, and create an accounting policy for the capitalization of these assets. Okay, but of course not the assets will include all of the expenditures na related lang po sa exploration and evaluation natin. Okay, so how do we recognize, sorry, how do we measure this asset being recognized, okay, as assets under the exploration and evaluation in our financial statements? So the measurement of it in accordance with IFRS number 6 is, okay, it should be recorded at costs. Okay, so you will be recording at costs yung mga expenditures na yon, no? And also subsequently, okay, just like our PPEs, normal PPE discussion, no, after initial recognition, the entity shall apply either the cost model or the revaluation model to the exploration and evaluation assets. Okay, so ayan po, no, we will have a separate video lecture about the cost and revaluation model, so you can visit that, no, after you have watched this. Okay, so all of the treatments, no, PPEs, okay, and also including this exploration evaluation assets, no, kasi similar lang naman po sila ng subsequent recognition will be discussed there. Okay. So let's now identify the elements of the expenditures, no, that can be capitalized as part of this exploration and evaluation assets. Okay, kasi sabi natin it should be recognized at cost. So just like the other PPEs, no, okay, let's have the cost components. So based on IFRS number 6, paragraph number 9, no, here are the following expenditures that will be initially capitalized, okay, as part of the exploration and evaluation assets. But also take note, guys, na there would be some others, no, that are not included here that may be capitalized but related also to these items. So we have the acquisition of rights to explore. Di ba kanina we have stated that we have to obtain legal rights, no, to explore that area. So we will be capitalizing that. And then topographical, geological, geochemical, and geophysical studies, of course, in identifying whether meron ba tayo, di ba, na mga mineral resources doon sa area na yon. So that's part of our exploration process. Okay, we have also the exploratory drilling. Okay, so you drill, you dig, no? Similar to that is yung trenching, no? That you are digging for trenches, no? That will be used for that particular mining process. And then we have samplings, not to identify whether we have the natural resources that would be used, no, and as an output for this mining process. And of course the activities in evaluating the technical feasibility and commercial viability of extracting the mineral resource. So that's already part of the evaluation process po natin. Okay, so how do we classify this costs, no, that were included in the exploration and evaluation assets? PPE na po ba agad or what? Okay, so let's identify based on paragraph number 15 and 16 of the similar standard. So ang sabi po doon, an entity shall classify the exploration and evaluation assets as either tangible. Okay, so ibig sabihin it could be part of the PPE, di ba? Kasi PPEs are tangible assets, or even it could be an intangible assets that we will be discussing in another video lecture, no? According to the nature of the assets acquired and apply the classification consistently. So when we talk about, again, tangible assets, it has a physical presence, while intangible assets, of course, it does not have. Okay, so some of the um, exploration and evaluation assets treated as intangible assets are, of course, yung mga drilling rights. Okay, yung acquisition of rights. Kanina, di ba, in the previous slide, one of our costs there is acquisition rights. So it could be part of the intangible asset po natin. Okay, while those vehicles, drilling rigs, no, yung mga ginagamit sa pang-drill, or even mga machines or equipment that are used in the exploration process, then they could be part of the tangible assets po natin. Okay? So, they will be treated similar way. No? Actually, yung tangible and intangible, they are somehow similar kasi they are subjected to, for tangible, depreciation, and then amortization for intangible assets. No? They are also initially recognized at cost. And with regards to their subsequent recognition, halos parehas po. Yun nga lang, magkaiba po sila ng standard. No? For tangible, of course, or PPE, it would be IAS number 16, which are we are discussing currently, and then the other would be IS 38 for the intangible assets, no? So ayan. By the way, this picture is actually an example of a drilling rig, no? So it is used in mining, no, for drilling or digging on that particular area. Okay? So ayan. Now, with regards also to this evaluation assets, no. Now let's talk about the wasting assets. Okay? So ano ba tong wasting assets na to? Which is actually ito yung continuation, no, nung ating discussion for depletion. So wasting assets are those assets that are from the natural resources po natin, and they can only be replaced by an act of nature. Okay? So yung kanina, yung exploration and evaluation assets. So yung sige, balikan natin, no? So when we talk about the tangible vehicle and drilling rig, so we have already discussed the depreciation of it, no, and the cost related to it. And then as to the intangible, i-discuss natin yan sa intangible assets, no. But this one, with regards to the wasting assets, okay, so again, this refers to the assets that are coming from the natural resources po natin, and they cannot be replaced, or they can only be replaced by act of nature, and cannot be replaced, of course, by the man. So eventually, these wasting assets are the basis natin for our depletion later. Okay, so what would be the costs that will be included in the wasting assets? Okay, so nakita nyo pagkakaiba ha. So this natural resources is not referring to the tangible. Kasi yung tangible na yun, they are the machines, no, the vehicles used. Hindi rin po ito yung rights kasi it's not intangible asset. So this wasting asset is similar to the mining, but it's referring already to the assets from the natural resources. Okay, so what are, no, the categories of cost of this wasting asset, since they have also similar treatment with what we have discussed in exploration and evaluation asset. Okay, so we have, of course, the purchase price, including the directly attributable cost of these wasting assets. Okay, so the exploration costs, no? So the expenditures that were incurred in the process of looking for the natural resources. And take note ha, wala pa pong technical feasibility and commercial viability on those mineral resources, no? And we have also the development. Okay, so with regards to development cost, okay, so these are costs, no, incurred to exploit or to extract. So ito rin yung kanina, no, with regards to a successful exploration, but this is not yet the production process. We try to develop the area, no, such as putting transportation and heavy equipment, no, which will be capitalized, of course, separately. As mentioned to you kanina, pwedeng ito yung exploration and evaluation assets that are found as tangible. Okay, and also we have ito, no, the drilling costs, the tunnels, the shafts, no, and wells will be capitalized as part of the natural resource. So yun na po yung papasok na part or cost ng ating wasting asset, no. So yung drilling cost natin, the expenditures with regards to drilling, okay, it could be the let's say for example yung payment to the person who, or salary of the person, no, who would be identified to drill, or even the creation of the tunnels, no, the shafts natin, and even yung wells, or for sake of waters, no. So ayun, no, they are capitalized as part of natural resources. So wag niyo po i-capitalize as part of the wasting asset yung transportation and heavy equipments po natin, since they would be considered as part of the PPE, no, which will be capitalized and depreciate separately. So mamaya in our examples, you will find there, no, that there would be separate depletion process for the natural resource, and then there would be a separate for those machineries or transportation equipment and others, no, that would be part of the process. Okay. So I hope na naintindihan po natin na. So these are the most likely costs, no, which will be part of the computation of our depletion. Okay? So now let's proceed na po with the main topic natin, which is, oh, sorry. Ayan, nalimutan ko po. No, there is still restoration cost, just like in our PPE's discussion, di ba? So restoration cost will be capitalized. So with this particular process of wasting asset, kasi di ba kanina, if you have remembered in the mining life cycle, we need to restore, no, the area after we have the mining process, okay, so that it would return to its natural state, and in the future, no, it could be still used for mining process if nag-regenerate na ulit by nature or act of nature yung mga mineral resources na kinuha po natin. Okay, so take note that the restoration cost should be at its present value, since we will be spending that at the end of the mining life po natin, or mining period natin, okay, to restore and to make the area, no, again suitable for future use. Okay, so going back to our depletion process, so when we talk about depletion, no, it's the process of systematically allocating the depletable base or depletion base, or in our PPE, no, it's depreciation base or depreciable cost, no, of the natural resource over the period the natural resources is extracted. Okay, so mamaya we will be talking about that, no, kasi may mga some technicalities as to the computations of depletion, no. But technically and usually, no, and normally, ang dami ko na nasabing word, no. So depletion is being computed using output method. So if you have remembered the discussion of our depreciation, di ba? We have also discussed there about the units of output method that our depreciation, okay, will be based on the output produced. So similar to that, this depletion, no, would be computed in the similar way, okay, with the depreciation, no, but we will be using output method since we are dealing with the output of the natural resources being extracted from that area. Okay? So what will be the composition of the depletion base po natin? So as mentioned po kanina about the cost, no? So we have the purchase price, okay? Then we have the exploration costs. Again, it should only be to the extent of the capitalized value, no? Except sir, paano po namin malalaman na capitalize siya? Again, there should be they should be the amount that were arising from the exploration before technical feasibility and commercial viability happens. Di ba? Yun yung ano natin kanina, basic premise po natin. Okay? Exploration and evaluation, no? Cost natin. Okay? Then you have also the development cost mo. Okay? So the cost of making tunnels kanina, di ba? Um, the drilling costs, you have also the wells, di ba? Yun yung na-discuss natin kanina, the previous slide. And then we have also the present value of the restoration costs. Okay, take note ha, present value. Sir, paano pag wala pong sinabing present value factor or what, then you need to check no whether is the problem stating that that is the present value. Pero if not, no, ang nasabi po is restoration costs to be paid after so many years, then you need to compute for the present value, no, using the discount rate given. Okay, so again, the for the process of computing the present value factor, no, you can refer to our video lecture about computing the present value. But I know naman na aware na kayo doon since we have already discussed it in our various um, topics, no, within this subject. Okay, and do not forget that if ever we will have residual value, no, because we can of course salvage anything from there, no, you will be deducting it, and then also that would be our depletable cost or the depletable base, okay, which we will be using in computing the depletion rate per unit kasi naka units of output po tayo. Okay, so the total depletable cost, okay, divided by the total estimated recoverable units at the beginning of the period, no. Later we will have some sort of change in accounting estimates dyan, no? Kasi just like what we did in the previous video lecture about um, change in accounting estimates, no? It could also happen here, no? Especially for your estimates na nakabase sa units, okay, since it could be different from time to time depending upon the circumstances. Okay? So yan po, no, yung ating depletion rate per unit. And of course, to identify how much is the depletion charge in a period or in a particular totality, no, for a particular period, then you will multiply, no, the depletion rate na na-compute mo out of the depletable cost over the estimated recoverable units, okay, multiplied it with the actual units of production during the period natin. Okay, so if it's here, no, all of the um, actual units produced in the year will be multiplied with the depletion rate. Okay, so take note ha that later the depletion rate could be revised. Okay, so how to revise it? Okay, so in addition, no, with our expenditures, sometimes meron po tayong mga additional capitalized expenditures as we have discussed in our previous na mga topics, no, about expenditures after initial recognition. So also the estimate may also be revised. Okay, so we need to recalculate our new depletion rate. Halos hawig din siya dun sa previous na slide natin na computation of depletion rate, but you need to consider, no, that any additional expenditure would be added only to the carrying value. So how do we compute for the carrying value? Again, it would be the totality of the cost previously recognized minus the any depletion previously accumulated depletion that you have previously recognized, no? So i-add mo po kung sakali lang ha na the reason why you are revising the depletion rate, it's because you have an additional capitalized cost. So you will add that, okay, in the carrying value. Then of course, do not forget to deduct the residual value. Sir, possible din po ba na yung residual value magbago? Yes. Okay, everything is possible with regards to the various components of our particular na um, wasting asset or depletable asset. Okay, then you divide it with the remaining units at the beginning of the year. Ha, take note, remaining units at the beginning of the year, so that we can identify, diba, that that is the estimate, no, at the start of the year, which will cover every period, okay, succeeding the um, beginning of the year. Okay, which includes of course the current year's units. Okay, so once you again identify the depletion rate per unit na na-revise po natin, then multiply it again with the actual number of units, then you will get now the depletion charge. Now, the depletion charge, since this will be part of the production process natin, okay, is considered as inventoriable or product cost. Kasi 'di ba yung makukuha natin from the wasting assets natin or even in the mining process natin will be sold, 'di ba? So in your cost accounting, you might have discussed that anything, no, including the depreciation or even the depletion of natural resources, no, would be capitalized. Okay, so they will be part of your inventories, no, whether it's silver, gold, or whatever natural resources it is, or even considered as a product costs, no. So whenever that we have depletion charge, it will not be chargeable as depletion expense, but rather it will be charged as, okay, for the sold units. Of course, it will be part of our cost of goods sold na. And then as to our unsold units, it will be part of the inventory po natin. Okay, so do not forget that, ha. If I ask you how much is the depletion expense, okay, for the period, your answer would be zero. Kasi hindi natin siya i-charge as an expense. Kasi yun yung technicality pag depletion expense ang tinanong, di ba? Pero if you will being asked of depletion or depletion charge, then you can answer whatever is the depletion computation. But if you were being asked of the cost of goods sold, just multiply it with the number of units sold, no, yung ating depletion rate per unit, okay, para makuha yon. Or if it is unsold, then depletion rate per unit times the unsold units, so that will be part of your inventory. Isang part lang yan, ha, kasi 'di ba we have also other amount of cost, no, to be part of our um to be part of our um tawag dito, to be part of our inventories. Okay, so the conversion costs and the likes now will also be part of the inventory. Okay, so are we clear on that? All right, so ito po yung depletion. Later we will give examples on this one. Okay, now, no, we have mentioned kanina that in our development process, no, we will be using some assets, no, that will be tangible and be presented separately. So let's now talk about dun sa depreciation ng mga yun, no, yung mga vehicles, mga um, drilling equipment, okay, yung mga ginamit natin na other tangible assets, no, in the mining activities. So how do we depreciate them? Do we have the straight line method or what? No? So in accordance with our discussion of the mining activities, no, since these assets will be used in the mining activities po natin, no, they should be depreciated using the shorter between the useful life, okay, and the expected mining period. Okay? So, hindi po tayo magbabase sa useful life lang ng PPE na yon, but rather we will take into account as well the expected mining period. Kasi we have used that asset specifically for mining activities, di ba? Sir, paano po ma-derive yung mining period? So, you can derive the mining period either by given in the problem, o kaya naman you can identify with the estimated number of units, okay, estimated total units, okay, divided by yung ating mga actual units, o kaya naman you can also the estimated na number of units per year. Okay, then that would be kung ilan po yung lumabas. So let's say for example, the total units that are expecting from that particular process is 1 million, and then ang nakukuha mo every year is, let's say for example, 200,000. So your mining period would be 5 years. Yun yung expected mining period, no? So you need to compare that with the useful life, and whichever is lower, then that would be the one that we are going to use, no? But if you expect that the mining period will be shorter, which is that's the usual case, no, um, you will be using the depreciation method to be computed, no, under the units of output method. Okay, units of output method. Okay, sir, paano yan kung mas mataas si useful life? Now, it depends upon the company policy na dun sa PPE, di ba? Kasi in our previous discussion about depreciation, we have various depreciation methods, no? So, you can apply that. Okay, but usually nga, since this is based on mining activities, most of the time, we are using units of output method. Okay? So, how about po, in those cases, no, that we have to shut down. Okay, so let's say for example, pinatigil ng government yung pagmimina, or even nagkaroon ng suspension, no, for your license to operate. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, yung sa ating depletion, 'di ba, wala kasi tayong actual units doon kasi suspended. So wala tayong depletion, tama ba? Tama ba? Kasi zero yun, di ba? Zero yung actual units multiplied with the depletion rate, kahit meron ka nun, then zero pa rin po yung depletion. But how about to these depreciable assets, no? Na kapag nagkaroon po tayo ng shutdown. So, let's now talk about the depreciation of these PPEs, no? Just in case that we will have a shutdown. Okay? So, in case of shutdown or suspension of the mining activities, no, we cannot use, of course, the output method, okay, for depreciation. Kasi in the previous slide, di ba, what we will be using as expected would be the units of output method. So paano nga kung walang actual output na magiging basihan ng depreciation natin? So what will be used? So what we'll be using would be straight line method. Okay? Or whatever the company uses, no, depending upon the scenario, no, pero most of the time it would be straight line method that will be used. Okay, of course, excepting units of output, kasi wala nga tayong wala nga tayong actual output na magiging basihan. So we can use the straight line method, and then until such time na bumalik po tayo sa um, ating, I mean, sorry, for the straight line method, no, the remaining carrying amount of the equipment, alam niyo naman po yung carrying amount, di ba? So it would be the cost natin for that PPE, then less natin yung accumulated depreciation from the previous period. So the carrying amount nun will be divided over the remaining useful life of the equipment. Okay? So kung dati ang naging basihan mo is the um, tawag dito, yung sinasabi natin kanina na expected mining period, ngayon po pupunta ka. So there would be a change in accounting estimate for short, no? Kasi you will be going to use straight line, and then you will be using the remaining life of the equipment, okay, to arrive at the depreciation in the year of shutdown. Okay? So again I hope na na-imagine nyo na yung original units of output method, okay, and nakabase talaga tayo sa output. And since from output method, no, after the shutdown, no, mag-straight line method tayo, so may change na tayo ng accounting estimate. And then from the units natin or output na basis, no, magiging remaining life, useful life tayo ng PPE. No? So there was a change again on the basis natin for the depreciation. Then we will have a change in accounting estimates. So applying what we have discussed in the previous video lecture about change in accounting estimate po yung gagawin natin dito. Okay? But somehow, of course, no, kapag naayos na po yung sigalot, no, or even ayos na at nag-continue na yung production process, then we will be changing again, no, to our original na process that we will be using the output method. Okay, so magkakaroon na naman ng change in accounting estimates. Sabihin nyo, sir, bakit ka kasi tumigil, no? Nahirapan pa tayo. So anyways, no, that's part of life, no, na kailangan ng pagbabago. Charot. Okay, pero ayan, upon resumption, no, the new depreciation rate per unit will be used kasi babalik na ulit tayo sa output method. Okay, output method na ulit tayo pag nag-resume na po yung production, since we can have already the computation based on actual units produced. Okay, so recompute ng depreciation rate, no, by again getting the carrying amount natin on the remaining periods, no, and also the remaining revised estimated deposits, okay, or the estimated output that we are expecting in the future years. Okay, so are we clear on that? Going once, going twice. Kung may questions po kayo ha, please do not forget to subscribe, charot, no? Please do not forget to key in your questions in our respective chat boxes. Okay? So ayan, I hope na hindi po nadideplete at hindi na depreciate ang inyong utak. So you're still alive, no? And ayun, no? I hope na may natututunan po kayo dito, no? So ganun talaga, no? Habang nagde-depreciate, nahihirapan pa talaga tayo, no? Ano daw? Ang corny ni sir 'no, wait lang, okay? So ayan 'no, that's our theoretical foundation of what we are going to discuss as sample problems 'no, for our depletion and also depreciation 'no, of our mining activity assets, okay? So again, depletion is applicable for the natural resources, while the depreciation will be applicable, of course, to those um, exploration assets that are considered as tangible, no, or even evaluation assets that are described or presented separately, no, since they are not part of the natural resources itself. Okay. So now, to discuss yung mga items po na nasabi po natin, okay, so let us now provide examples. Okay? So let's start with example number 1. So again, kung may questions po kayo dito ha, do not forget to chat your questions in our chat box. Okay. So we are being asked to compute for the depletion for the years 2020 to 2024. So mahaba-haba, no? So ayun ha, depletion for these years. So gamitin natin yung computation and depletion kanina. So sabi po dito, in 2020, Cookie Mining Company purchased a property with natural resources for 12,400,000. Okay? So that's the property that we will be considering as the natural resource natin, no? The 12,400,000. Then it was close to the large city daw, and it's expected to have a residual value of 1,800,000, of course, after the exploration process or extracting process. No? And the following relates to the use of property. So in the year 2020, same with the year of acquisition, no? Cookies spend 800 in development costs. So kanina, it is capitalizable, di ba, in our depletable costs. So mamaya in our computation for the year 2020, no, kasama po yung 800,000. Then in 2021 and 2023, additional development costs, no, 600,000 and 1,600,000 respectively were spent. Okay? So there would be an additional expenditures na magiging basihan natin ng computation ng revised, okay, depletion rate. And then with regards to the tonnage mined and estimated remaining tons for the years, no? So here as follows. So in 2020, as you can see, zero was extracted. That's expected kasi baka sila po ay nagpa-process pa or inaayos pa nila yung kanilang process, no? And we are estimating it to have 5 million. So una pa lang, no, in this year, no, wala na tayong depletion. Bakit? Kasi yung basis natin ng units of output will be zero, and thus wala po tayong i-multiply, and that would be a zero depletion. So start tayo sa 2020, no? So para hindi tayo matabunan. So in 2020, no, we have no depletion. Okay? Again, the reason being kahit may cost tayo na 12,400,000 at saka yung development cost na 800,000, no, we cannot we can compute. Okay, we can compute for the depletion rate, okay, based on the 5 million na tons. Okay, so kung gusto po ninyo malaman kung magkano yung depletion rate in 2020, so it was 12,400,000, okay, plus the 800,000. Okay, so magkano po yun? That was 13,200,000. Then divide it. Help me guys. Divide it with 5 million. So magkano po yung ating depletion rate? So 13,200,000 divided by 5 million. Okay, so that would be 2.64. Okay? So kung sakali man na meron sana na-produce in the year 2020, we should have a depletion. Since wala ngang na-extract or na-produce, then zero po tayo. Okay? So I hope that that's clear to us. Okay, now continuing in 2021, no, may additional development cost po tayo ha na 600,000. Okay, and then our ton extracted was 1,500,000 and the estimated ton was 3,500,000. So ayun na po, no. So we have already extracted. So we will be expecting that there would be um, depletion, no, for 2021. So first compute tayo ng depletable base for 2021. Okay, so that's the purchase price ulit, no, of 12,400,000, then add the development cost of the year 2020, which is 800,000, and we have also the development cost of 2021, no. So in that case, now the total costs natin was 13,800,000, no. Then do not forget that we have a residual value given na 1,800,000. Thus, the depletable costs as of the year 2021 was 12 million. Okay? Then ang sabi natin kanina, 'di ba, we need to divide it with the estimated number of tons, no, at the beginning of the year. So kung sabi po dito at the end of 2021 may 3,500,000 ka na estimated remaining ay isipin mo sa end ng 2021 yan yung natitira, and then ang natanggal po is 1,500,000. So what does it mean? We have an estimated ton of 5 million. Sir, nagkataon lang ba siya na parehas siya sa 2020? Yes. Kasi minsan hindi po, no? So again, no, tignan niyo maigi. Ito ay estimated remaining. So that's expected at the end of 2021. Pero pag ang sinabi diyan, estimated tons at the remaining at the beginning of the year, at the beginning, edi wala na tayong i-add na 1,500,000. So please take note of the problem detail kasi it will change everything. Again, what we will be using should be the estimated number of outputs at the beginning of the year. So it would be 5 million in this case. So our revised depletion rate from 2.64 kanina in 2020, it now become 2.40 in 2021. Okay? So, are we clear on that? Ay, sorry, hindi pala 2.64 yon, yung nasa taas. No? Ayan, hindi nyo ako sinabihan. As if no, may kausap pala ako kanina. No? So, we have forgotten pala kanina yung minus 1,800,000. No? Ayan. No, pasensya nyo na wala kayong tagasabi. I hope naman nagsasalita kayo na and you're correcting yourself. Okay, so 13,200,000 minus 1,800,000. So ayun pala. Okay, mali ako. For 11,400,000. So live po tayo kaya nagkakamali ako dito. Pasensya na. Okay, and then divided by 5 million din, 'di ba? So that was the supposed to be. So divide by 5 million. So hindi pala 2.64 kanina. It should be 2.28. Ayan, no? Paki-take note na lang, no? Pangat sulat ko. Okay, that would be 2.28. Okay, so yan yung 2020. Pero again, no, wala po tayong depletion nung 2020 kasi nga wala pong ton extracted. So again, going back, no, so kung in 2020 may 2.28, in 2021 it was 2.40 na po. Okay, then again, we have extracted 1,500,000. So by multiplying that, then the depletion po natin in 2021 would be 3,600,000. So that's the total depletion charge. Hindi naman po nabanggit dito kung ilan po yung nabenta or natira. So we cannot identify how much is the costs for the inventory and the cost of goods sold. So we are just answering the depletion lang, no, for 2021. So I hope that you can still follow ha. So the depletion for 2021 was 3,600,000. Okay? So continuing po for our 2022, so wala pong additional cost in 2022, no? So we have 1,800,000 ton extracted and then we have remaining 2 million. So ibig sabihin we will have an estimated beginning mamaya na 3.8 million, no? So what will happen is again, no, using our total cost kanina, okay, which is 13,800,000, then since nagbago po tayo ng estimate as to the number of tons to be extracted, no, then the accumulated accumulated depletion will be deducted, no, which is the 3,600,000 in the previous year. Okay, so the revised carrying value at the start of 2022 was 10,200,000. Do not forget to deduct the residual value. Thus, the revised depletable cost po natin for 2022 was 3,400,000. Again, walang additional cost. So, ganyan lang po yung nangyari. Then we divide it with the revised estimated number of tons at the beginning of 2022, which is 3,800,000. So the revised depletion rate per unit in 2022 was 2.21. So kanina in the previous slide, for the year 2021, we have 2.4. Ngayon pong 2022, it was 2.21 and the number of tons extracted was 1,800,000. So the total depletion, no, for 2022 was 3,978,000. So I hope na nasusundan pa po ninyo ako mga kapatid ha. Okay, so this is the depletion for 2022. Okay? Then here comes now 2023 wherein we have an additional cost as mentioned in the second bullet na 1,600,000. Okay? So also with regards to the number of units estimated, nag-revise din. Kasi kung titignan mo, you have extracted in 2023 ng 1,700,000. Then you have 900,000 na remaining. So we have ilan yan? That would be 2,600,000. No? That will be our revised. Okay, so we will be recomputing again the new rate. So in 2023, no, recomputing the new rate, we get the total costs. So in the previous years, you have 13,800,000. Then nagdagdag tayo ng additional expenditure for development na 1,600,000. Thus the revised total cost natin was 15,400,000. No? And then our accumulated depletion. So for 2021, meron po tayong 3,600,000. And then in 2022, meron tayong 3,978,000. So that's a total of previous year's depletion na 7,578,000. And then the revised carrying value at the beginning of 2023 was 7,822,000. Okay? Now, we deduct the residual value of 1,800,000. So our revised depletable cost was 6,022,000. Okay? Then we divide it with our revised total estimated number of tons extracted at the beginning of 2023, which is 2,600,000. So our revised depletion rate per unit in 2023 was 2.32. Okay, we multiply it with the number of units extracted in 2023, no? So that would be 1,700,000. Thus, the total depletion for the year 2023 would be 3,944,000. Okay? So, nagigets po ba natin? I hope that you can still follow. Again, if you do have questions, please let me know lang sa ating chat box. Okay? So we are now down to the last year, 2024. And as you can see, no, maybe this will be the last year na po, no, for extraction, no, 900,000, since we don't expect already any amount in the future or any extracted tons in the future years. So for our last year, 2024, so wala rin pong additional cost, no? So we will be using pa rin po yung ating rate, pero we need to put it already all in our depletable depletion, no? So yung total cost natin kanina, 'di ba, it's 15,400,000, lahat-lahat na po 'yon. Okay, and then our accumulated depletion for the previous years, okay, is accumulated to 11,352,000, and then the carrying value at the start of 2024 was 3,878,000. Okay, 3,878,000. Then deduct mo yung residual value kasi that should be the expected value after this 2024. So 1,800,000. So the revised depletable costs was 2,078,000. Now, we do not need to compute anymore the revised depletion rate kasi gagawin mo lang, you divide it with 900, pero pag 39 natin, no, magkano po kaya yung per unit? So that's 2,078,000 divided by 900. So that would be 2.31. Okay? So 2.31 po yung rate, and then you will multiply it again with 900 kasi yun lang po yung extracted during the period. So that's also similar to the 2,078,000. So no need for us to do that. Pero ito nga po, 2.31 yung revise, no? And then our depletion for 2024 was the 2,078,000 na remaining value. Okay? So do you have any questions po or clarifications? So that's our example number one. Okay, I hope that it helped you in understanding what we have discussed in our previous slides. Okay, so if you do have questions, please let me know lang po in our respective chat boxes. Okay, so let's proceed now with example number two. Okay, so in example number two, we are being asked of the depletion and depreciation for 2020 and 2021. So we will be expecting that there is an asset used for the mining activity, no, that is subject to depreciation. So let's read the data, and do not forget that we will be using two decimal places just in case that we need to compute for any present value factors. Okay, so on October 1, 2020, so Tata Company, a calendar year company, okay, purchased a right to mine. Okay, so the total purchase price was 24,600,000. Okay, and the restoration costs to be paid after the mining period was 2 million. Okay, so this is the restoration cost. Payment is after, no? So ibig sabihin, we will be computing for the present value po natin dyan, and um, the discount rate for the restoration cost was 10%. Okay? So the estimated reserve were 3,600,000 tons. So yan po yung expected natin, no, for the mining period na ma-extract, and the company expect to extract and sell 50,000 tons per month. So that's our extraction and sales, no? And on the same date, no, the company purchased a new equipment to be used in the mine. So ito po yung subject to depreciation natin, since this is an equipment, no, and not a natural resource, no, for 5 million. Now, the estimated useful life of 8 years, no, 8 years, and it has a residual value of 300,000. So this equipment would be of no use, no, after the resources is removed from the mining site. So we will be expecting that it would be using yung ating mining period na mamaya i-compute po natin, no, to identify how many is the mining period. Okay, or how long it is. And again, we are asked to determine the depletion and depreciation for 2020 and 2021. Okay, so let's do this. Take note ha, the date of the start would be October 1. Okay, so with regards to our um, costs, okay, so ito po yung ating computation ng costs. So we have the purchase price, which is the 24,600,000. So that's given. And then we compute for the present value of the restoration costs. Okay, so our restoration cost kanina will be paid, no, at an amount of 2 million, okay, after the of course mining period. So that's the future value, and multiplying it with the present value factor na 0.56. So that would be 1,120,000. So saan po nanggaling yung 0.56? Of course, it was 10%. So saan po namin siya i-raise na period? Kasi hindi naman sinabi kung ilan yung mining period. So computing the mining period, so that's actually the 3,600,000 na total estimated natin na reserves. Then sabi, di ba, we can extract 50,000 tons per month. So we divide that with 50,000. So we have 72 months. So 72 months yung itatagal ng mining period with the amount of extraction. And then we will be dividing it by 12 kasi gusto natin malaman yung years. So it's 6 years. Okay? So it's 6 years. So again, that's 10% single payment kasi it will be paid after the mining period. So that's 1.10. Okay, then equal sign for those na hindi nakacycle. Okay, so divide and then pindot ng equal sign na 6 times. Okay, so that you can derive 0.56447, or since we need to use two decimal places, so it's only 0.56. Okay, so doon po nanggaling yon. And the total cost of course is 25,720,000. Okay? So that's the total cost natin. And as you can see, wala naman po tayong any residual value for our mine, no, or for the natural resources. So wala tayong i-deduct. So the total cost will act as the depletable cost. Then divide it with the estimated number of tons, okay, na 3,600,000. Thus, the depletion rate per unit, no, wala namang additional cost, no? So, ibig sabihin, every year, it would be 7.14. At wala rin pong revision dito, as you can see in the problem about the number of extracted. So, we will assume that every year or every unit that we will produce starting this year, moving forward, unless there would be future na mangyayari and revisions, no, it's 7.14. Okay? So, for 2020, since it's October, okay, so in October up to December, that's 3 months. Okay, and we are expecting to extract 50,000. No, so that would be a total of 150,000 units. Okay, then multiply it with the depletion rate per unit. Thus, the depletion po natin, which will be part of our inventoriable costs, okay, whether cost of goods sold siya pag nabenta na and inventory para sa remaining units is a total of 1,071,000. Okay? So, ganun po yun ha. October siya nagsimula since we are based in the units and naka-base naman po yung tons natin per month. Okay? So, similar to that, in the year 2021, dahil full year na po yun, okay, so for our units, no, it's 50,000 per month times 12 months. Okay, so that's around 600,000 times 7.14 na depletion rate. So na-mention ko po kanina that we need not to compute again the depletion per unit since wala naman pong any changes given in the problem. No? So we have a total depletion of 4,284,000. Okay, so these are the depletion natin, okay, for the years 2020 and 2021. So again, if you do have questions, please let me know po. Okay, so right now we will be proceeding with the depreciation. So this is via the usage of what we have discussed na depreciation of the mining PPEs. Okay, so as to that, now we have only the costs of, or by the way, we need first to identify no, the lower between the useful life and the mining period. So as stated in the problem, di ba, we have 8 years. And then kanina, we have tried to compute the mining period. So that's 6 years. No? So same computation, the 3,600,000 na units total divided by the 50,000 to be extracted every period. So that's 72 months divided by 12. So we are expecting to have it at least 6 years. Okay? So for our costs, of course, we have the 5 million, okay, and then given in the problem, no, that this equipment will have a residual value of 300,000, thus the depreciable costs would be 4,700,000. Okay, then since mas lower po yung ating mining period, sabi natin kanina, if the mining period is lower, then we will be using the number of units or output method po tayo. So we divide it with the expected number of units, which is 3,600,000, and thus the depreciation rate per unit natin, okay, for the equipment was 1.31. Okay? 1.31. So to identify how much is the depreciation for 2020, so we have again the 50,000 units per month times 3 months only for 2020 since October to December, then times the depreciation rate per unit na 1.31. So we have the depreciation expense in 2020 na 196,500. Okay, while in 2021, since we have already the full year, so the 50,000 times 12 months, so that's an equivalent of 600,000 units, okay, times 1.31 na depreciation rate per unit. So our depreciation expense for the year 2021 is 786,000. Okay? So are we clear on that? So again, how we need to apply that, no? That we will be using the units of output if we have identified the estimated mining period is lower than the useful life, which is usually the case naman. Since then, no after use na yung ating equipment after removal on the mining site. May mga ganun kasi pang mining lang po siya. Okay? So again, if you do have questions, please let me know. So that is our example number 2. Okay? So I hope na masaya ka pa ha. Okay? So we're now down to our last example. Okay, so for our last example, you are being asked of the depreciation expense from the first to fifth year. Okay, ang haba, no? So, depreciation expense lang po, wala nang depletion. Okay, so we just want to discuss, no, about doon sa sinasabi natin kanina na what if there would be a shutdown. Okay, so let me read the problem. So, Chimi Mining constructed a building costing 9,750,000 on the mine property. Okay, the building has an estimated useful life of 15 years with no residual value. Okay, so no residual value tayo. And after the resources were removed, the building will be of no use and will be demolished by the entity. So one of the reason maybe of constructing a building there is, 'di ba, isipin ninyo meron tayong mga workers, so it could be a house for the workers and even for the offices natin, no, that would be related to the mining activities, no? So kaya nagpatayo ng building. Okay? So it's an baka kasi kung naiisip ninyo, ay ba't pa nagpatayo ng building, eh, pwede naman na mag-transport na lang. Siyempre, of course, 'di ba, we need to have a more comfortable process, and of course building construction near the site would also be um kumbaga an essential thing, no? Since sabi rin po dito, the useful life naman is 15 years. Now, continuing with our problem, no? However, after all of the resources will remove, the building will be of no use, okay? And will be demolished by the entity. Now, the estimated recoverable output on that mine was 1,500,000 tons. Okay, so during the first 2 years of operations, the company extracted 125,000 tons per year. Okay? Changes in the environment or surrounding environment forced the entity to shut down for succeeding 2 years. So ito, nagkaroon tayo ng shutdown in the third and fourth year. Thus, there were no extraction during the third and fourth year. And in the fifth year, no, the company resumed extraction and produced 150,000 tons. Now, with this improvement, no, in the production process, the company will extract 200,000 tons per year. Okay? So, anong first step natin dito? Since this is depreciation, let's identify first, no, which is lower between the useful life and the um, mining period natin. So as to the useful life, it was 15 years, no? And as to our mining period, so we have the 1,500,000 na given in the problem na total recoverable units, then divide it with 125,000, which is our estimate in the first 2 years na ma-extract po. So that would be 12 years. Okay, so looking into this data now, the mining period is still lower, and thus we will be using the units of output. No? So in the first 2 years, as you all know, dahil may outputs po tayo na na-produce, then we will be using what? The units of output. And at the time of shutdown, sabi natin kanina sa theoretical discussion, then we will be what? Using straight line method. Okay? So let's start in our year one. Okay? or or let's start muna, no, with our depreciation per unit. So our depreciable costs was the 9,750,000 dahil wala naman pong salvage value, so that's only the costs natin. Okay, and then as to our estimated recoverable units, so it's 1,500,000. So we are expecting that the per unit depreciation was 650 or 6 pesos and 50 cents. Okay, in the year one, okay, so we have the depreciation per ton na 6.50, and we have extracted 125,000. So in that case, no, our depreciation expense was 812,500. So walang tanong doon kasi nga it's just a simple multiplication of the units extracted and the depletion rate per ton. Okay, so that's 812,500. And if I asked you how much is the carrying value of this building, okay, at the end of year one, so that would be 8,937,500. Okay? So that's the year one carrying value po natin. Okay? So moving to year two, which has the similar number of units. So same, no? It has a depreciation expense of 812,500. Okay? Then as to our carrying value, okay, it would be 8,125,000 na lang po. So after the 2 years period. Okay? So are we clear on that? All right. So pagdating po nung third year, as mentioned, no, there was a shutdown. So in year 3, no, dahil nagkaroon po ng shutdown, okay, we will be not using the units of output, but rather we will be transitioning to the straight line for the next 2 years. Okay? So in year 3, okay, so first, 'di ba, sabi natin, we need to determine the carrying value. Okay, so the carrying value, as mentioned in the previous slide kanina, year 2, was 8,125,000. And remember, in our theoretical discussion kanina, up to what will be the number of useful life to be used? It should be the remaining useful life of the asset and not the mining period. So initially, di ba, we have 15 years. Okay, and since tapos po yung first year and second year, di ba, using the output, so minus 2. So 15 minus 2. So we have an estimated remaining life of 13. Okay, so ganun yung gagamitin natin ha, not the mining period kapag tayo po ay nag-shutdown. Okay, in terms of shutdown, we will be using the useful life and the remaining useful life as basis. Okay, so that's divided by 13. So our depreciation expense was 625. Okay, 625,000. Are we clear on that? Okay, so our revised carrying value as of the beginning of the year, no, which is 8,125,000 divided by the remaining useful life of 13 years, then our depreciation expense was 625. And as to the carrying value for for the year 3, no, so it would be 7,500,000. So yung accumulated natin ha, yung previous year na value, okay, plus this 625. So it's a total of 2,250,000. Okay, so again, we have the similar amount, no, for our our depreciation expense in the year 4 kasi hindi naman po tayo nagbago ng units. We use straight line. Okay, so 625 pa rin po. Then as to our carrying value, okay, it was 6,875,000 na lang po. So it came from the costs, no, and then the accumulated depreciation na 2,875,000. Okay? Now, proceeding with our year 5. Okay? So in year 5, we have already resumed our operations. Okay? So in resuming the operations, as mentioned to you, no, we will go back to the units of output method. So we will be again estimating the revised number of units, no? So we're in year 5, we have the remaining number of tons. Ang sabi po kasi, you're expecting 200 tons per year. Okay? And then times 8. Sir, bakit po 8? Kasi 'di ba initially ilan ba yung ating mining period? So babalik na ulit tayo sa mining period, 'di ba? The original mining period kanina was 12 years. Okay? And then remember, year 1, 2, 3, and 4 are already tapos na. Okay? So minus 4. So we have the remaining mining period na 8 years. So yun po yung gagamitin natin to derive the remaining estimated tons. So the remaining estimated tons moving forward starting 5th year was 1,600,000 tons. Okay, so let's try to recompute again our revised depreciation rate per unit na po tayo, per ton. Okay, so it would be the 6,875,000, which is the carrying value in year 4. Sabi nga natin, di ba? Our basis would be the remaining carrying value. Okay, then divided by the revised estimated tons, no, in the start of year 5, which is 1,600,000. So we are expecting that in year 5, no, we will have 4.3 per ton na depreciation. Okay? Kasi naka-units of output na po tayo. So let us now identify, no, what's the depreciation expense in year 5. So we have 150 tons extracted as mentioned in the problem in the year 5, then times 4.3. So our depreciation expense, no, in our year 5 was 645,000. Okay, so that's our depreciation expense. So the lesson for this example number 3 is again for the years that we will be depreciating the asset, we need to check first whether whatever is lower between the useful life and the what? And the mining period. Now, if the mining period is lower, then we will be using the units of output, okay, in those periods that we have extractions. And on the time of shutdown, no, we will have a change in accounting estimate wherein we will be transferring to straight line method, and we will be using the remaining useful life. But at the time of resumption of operations, no, we will now be transferring again to the units of output, and then our basis for the depletion or depreciation rather would be the remaining number of tons na po or units. Okay? So I hope that that is clear ha. Again, if you do have questions, please let me know lang po. Okay? And we have now our last example. So for our last example, this is now talking about the cost of ending inventory and cost of goods sold. So kanina po kasi we are more on depletion, di ba? And our theoretical discussion, we have mentioned that they will be part of the ending inventory pag unsold po and cost of goods sold pag sold. So let's try to use that here in this final example. Okay? So on July 1, 2020, Koya Mining Company now purchased a coal mine for 8 million. So that's the initial cost. Then the estimated capacity of the mine was 2,800,000 tons. Now during the year, the company mined 40,000 tons per month, per month. And take note the start date, it was July 1, 2020, and sells 36,000 tons of coal per month. So we have 4,000 na na-extract pero 36,000 lang yung nabenta, which means we have 4,000 each month na ending inventory. Okay? Hindi lang 4,000 kasi 4,000 yung natitira pero of course our ending inventory will change actually. Okay, then the selling price is 120 per ton, and the production costs, excluding depletion and depreciation, are 16 per ton. Okay, so mamaya kasi we will be talking about total cost, di ba? Kasi we are asked of the ending inventory and cost of goods sold eh. So at the end of the mine's life, it is expected that the present value of restoration today was 800,000 after it can be sold for 400,000. So restoration is 800, ano tong 400, sir? The 400 is actually our residual value or the salvage value natin. Okay? Now, the company also purchased a temporary housing for the miners at a cost of 600,000. Now, the housing has an expected life of 10 years, okay, but expected to be sold at 40,000 at the end of mine's life. Okay, so actually, this is a combination of all na na-discuss natin, no? Since we are asked about the costs of the ending inventory and cost of goods sold relating to the coal mine natin. Okay, so our first step is to determine first the depletion. Okay, the depletion rate. So our depletion rate was actually coming from the cost of the mine na 8 million. Then 'di ba meron po tayong restoration cost na naka-present value na which is 800,000. Then deduct po the residual value which is 400,000 divided by the expected number of tons capacity natin na 2,800,000. Okay? So we will have 3 peso depletion per ton. Okay, so yan po yung depletion per ton natin which will be capitalized later. Okay, so iwanan muna natin yan since we need also the depreciation. So bakit kailangan yung depreciation rate? Kasi 'di ba, if you have remembered, since this is related to the production process natin, no, this amount of temporary housing will be charged also in our product costs. Okay? So as to our depreciation per ton, no, you have the 600,000 na cost of the temporary housing for the miners, no, minus 40,000 na salvage value. Okay? Then divided by, since again we are going to use the tawag dito, um, mining period, no, wherein we have 2,800,000. Okay, so yun po yung gagamitin natin. Okay, so sir, bakit po yun yung ginamit natin? Kasi if you're going to try, no, you have 2,800,000. Pangit ng pagkakaano ko. Okay, so if you will have 2,800,000 na number of tons, 'di ba? Pag trinay natin computein ng mining period, so that's 40,000, 'di ba, per month. Okay? 40,000 per month. Okay, pasensya na sulat ko. Ay, ba't gumagalaw? Ano ba 'yan? Pasensya na guys. Okay, so ayan. 2,800,000 times 40,000 kasi yun po yung extracted niya per month. So ilang months po yun? 2,800,000 divided by 40,000. So that would be 70 months. 'Di ba? 70 months yon divided by 12. So ilang years yon? 70 divided by 12. So that would be 5.8 lang, 'di ba? 5.83. So ibig sabihin, mas mababa yung mining period kesa dun sa 10 years natin. Then we will be using the mining period, which is actually our output method ang gagamitin. Okay? Kaya nag-divide na agad tayo ng 2,800,000. So we have a depreciation per ton na 0.20. Okay? So that we can identify the cost natin. Okay? So for our ending inventory na may tigpo 4,000 na natitira per month, no? Kasi 40,000 less 36,000. Okay, so that would be 4,000 per month yung natitira. Pero take note ha, syempre yung ating flow ng inventory will be depending upon FIFO or weighted average, di ba? Pwedeng yung 4,000 ng first month o nang ibibenta ng second month, and then yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? That the flow of inventory will be different depending upon the company's policy. But again, 4,000 per unit, 4,000 units per month po yung natira in 2020. So we have 6 months kasi July po yun. So we have an ending inventory for 2020 na 24,000 all in all. Okay? Then we multiply it, okay, by a production cost per unit po natin. So the production cost per unit po natin was the 16, okay, which is the initial production cost without the depletion and depreciation, plus the depletion rate natin, which is 3 per ton, and then zero point 0.2 no for our um 0.2 for our depreciation naman, which is capitalizable din. So the total production cost po natin was 19.2. So multiplying that 19.2 na per unit production cost times the 24,000 na ending inventory, then that would be 460,800. So the cost of our ending inventory was 460,800. Okay, so yun po yung sagot sa ending inventory. Now, how about po doon sa ating costs of goods sold. Okay, so as to our cost of goods sold, we have 36,000 units or tons per month, no, times 6 months, so it's 216,000 yung nabenta for 2020, and the production cost per unit was 19.2. So we have a total cost of goods sold for 2020 na 4,147,200. Okay. So ayan, I hope that that is clear for us, that the depletion and the depreciation related to whatever is in the mining activity will be capitalized on the production cost po natin. Okay? So are we clear? All right. So with that, no, that's the end of our discussion of our depletion. Okay. So again, if you do have questions, please let me know lang po on our respective chat boxes. Okay. So thank you very much for listening and have a great day. I'll see you all on our next video lecture. Okay. Kamsahamnida. Sayonara. Bye-bye. Thank you. God bless.